So today I want to help you all get ready for the Server Slam beta coming in 5 days, which is absolutely absurd. Now, at first glance, you might think, oh, it's a beta, just mess around, have fun. But that's actually not necessarily going to work for some people because there is a mount trophy that you can unlock by beating Ashava on a max level character in the beta. Max level is level 20. And this is not a trivial thing, especially if you only have a few times to attempt it, because if you get in a pretty mediocre group, you're going to have to carry. So I want to offer a few tips to help you out there, because a lot of people are going to be stuck in that situation, and that'll be pretty unfortunate if you can't get the unique cosmetic because, well, you're not prepared for it. So a few things to quickly go over here about the beta itself. Again, this is on May 12th from May 12th to 14th at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So if you're in another time zone, that's going to be obviously something you're going to want to consider. This is available for all the different various consoles, etc. And we are going to be getting the same thing that we got in the previous betas. We're going to get all 5 classes, all the Act 1, etc. Which means that some areas of Act 1 are actually going to have a higher level than you are, which is very, very important to note. No progress that you made in the earlier beta is going to transfer. Level 20 is the max. And legendary drop rate is going to be the same that of the launch, which is significantly reduced from the previous beta. So it's not going to be nearly as easy to grind up this extremely powerful character to solo Ashava as you might have seen in other videos out there, which is pretty impressive, but much harder this time around. And as they say here, Ashava is the main reward, right? Because you can actually unlock this mount trophy. We're talking about this little horn here, not the actual mount itself, but the horn alongside it. Now that might seem like nothing to you all, but who knows if we're ever going to get access to it ever again. And so this is your one and only time. And for me, that's kind of important. I kind of want to unlock it just for collector's sake. And so I'm going to be trying my hardest by focusing in on one class. But this Ashava is going to be spawning at May 13th, 9 a.m. PDT, and every 3 hours after that until the final spawn on May 14th, 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So you have quite a few iterations of this boss spawning. You basically have a full 24-hour period of this spawning, which gives you roughly, about 8 times to actually battle the Ashava boss between that time. However, not everyone's going to be able to access every single time, so make sure you just get in with one of those periods so that you can actually challenge it. Again, this can be quite difficult to beat, and so if you're not prepared, you might just have to carry it, so just keep that in mind, and I'll talk about a couple strategies to, beat that. Again, this mount trophy must be beaten Ashava with a level 20 character, level 20. As it shows here, it's going to be earned by defeating Ashava with one level 20 character. So if you beat Ashava before you're level 20, you will have to beat Ashava again at level 20, as far as we've seen, which is pretty important. So if you've done any of these players who unlocked rewards in the previous betas, so if you're curious about the wolf pup, etc., you do not need to play this beta, and if you don't care about the mount trophy, or if you just want to have fun, do whatever you want, okay? Also, there's a few titles that you can earn, and again, these can be earned in the previous beta, so if you've already done it, then go right ahead. Other than that, there isn't really anything to talk about in specific to this beta, but I want to talk about a couple of strategies associated with this, because again, I will mention it is quite tough to beat Ashava, and as of this tweet right here from Joe Shelley, Ashava will remain at level 25 while our max level will be level 20. So not only is the legendary items reduced, not only are we going to get less level cap, but you also have to beat it within a smaller time frame to get that mount trophy. So a couple of things I want to mention on how to help you get that kind of place in the game. First things first, I would not bother with campaign unless you enjoy the storyline. Campaign, due to the nature of campaign being slower and not necessarily the best way to level, and you don't have access to unlocking the higher world tiers anyways, there's no reason to complete campaign unless you care about the story, okay? If you care about the story, go ahead and do it. Again, this is just to help those that actually care about beating Ashava and not necessarily just playing your own game, because you could totally play your own game. They've also removed the ability to constantly reset dungeons. That doesn't mean that you can't reset dungeons by just naturally playing through the game and waiting, potentially logging out, teleporting back to town and waiting a few minutes, but you can't just repeat immediately and go dive into the dungeons. So the best way to get strong quickly is to first prioritize the additional skill points. This means maxing out on the renown system up until the tier 3. If you get this, you get 2 bonus skill points, which will put you at essentially level 22 in terms of power. This is going to be pretty important, okay? After you've gotten those level 2 skill points through the renown system, which is just beating all the separate dungeons, you should probably be close to level 20. And at that point, the next goal is to farm legendary items. What is the best way? Well, as far as recent changes, they've actually potentially removed the ability to farm the level 35 mob for additional high level loot. So that strategy is also out of the way, which means the only option we have is to focus in on open world events and dungeons. Now, as we've seen, they have not changed anything to do with open world events. So therefore, my best advice for you all to farm legendary items is to focus in on the gambler. Now, assuming that the 1 in 3 chance was actually boosted, we're going to probably see potentially a 1 in 5, 1 in 10. I'm not quite sure what the standard drop rates are, because as far as we've played, no matter what version, all the drop rates have boosted. So we'll have to see what the rates are. But the best way to farm legendary items I found is to constantly repeat open world events for Murmuring Obols and then gamble those on things like gloves, which are the cheapest option for you in the gambler. This will allow you to get some items prepared for Ashava, and this is what I'm going to be doing. After you've gotten the 2 skill points, let's say you're not level 20, one of the best ways to level also is by doing this method. So you're not only going to get the legendary items, but you're also going to get the levels inside the game. And that is finding an event inside the game, beating it, teleporting back to town, and then teleporting back to the event and repeating that process over and over and over again. Every roughly 2, 3, 4 times that you've been teleporting, you'll reset the event and be able to do that event again, no questions asked, which allow you to farm Murmuring Obols extremely easily, allowing you to gamble for specific slots if you need them, or just gamble in general for high quality legendary items. This is the best way to get strongest as soon as possible. Again, this is mainly for those people that are looking to beat Ashava, because it's not going to be an easy fight, especially if you guys have ever challenged Ashava. It's definitely doable solo, but you do need a solid build. And of course, potentially you don't have to do it solo, but in my opinion, anytime that I've decided to fight it without any actual group that I went in with, it was extremely difficult. And you can even see behind me in this fight, this was one of our first attempts at Ashava. Try to prepare yourself as much as you possibly can so you can get those free cosmetics for the launch of the game. Hopefully this helps. Again, if you just want to enjoy the beta, just enjoy the beta. Have some fun. Don't worry about it too much. You could just troll a little bit like I am in this Ashava fight. No big deal. But if you're looking to get the cosmetic, then you want to prepare yourself as much as possible, and these things will help. If you're looking for a solid build, not necessarily the best build, but some solid, really enjoyable builds that are based around level 20, please check out the previous video. I will leave a link to it, or I'll leave a little card in the top right corner right now, and the thumbnail right here, so you guys can check that out. The top 5 must-try builds that I recommend that are extremely fun and will help you potentially beat Ashava. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all for the next one.